when it hurts like this.
Hey everyone, so some of you guys might be in school right now, or perhaps you're learning Java and you're just curious about what it feels like or what it's like to work in the industry with Java. So I've been working with Java for about 2 years now, full Java, nothing else, no front end. And I just want you guys kind of get a feel for what it's like to do with Java every day. So I'm gonna break the video into a couple parts. The first part is some pros and cons of Java. Then it's gonna go into some beginner skills that you might need. Maybe you've already learned it in school, or perhaps you've been reading about it. So that's just gonna go over that basic knowledge. And the next and last part is gonna be intermediate skills that you might want to look into if you want to use Java and are looking for a Java developer job in the career field. So if you're watching this video, you probably have heard of Java or have worked with it before, but I'm just gonna go over a quick summary here of some pros and cons with Java. All right, so some pros and cons of Java. If you don't know Java, it's a very strictly typed language. Oh, by the way, when I mean strict typing, it means that each variable can only have and hold a certain type of integer or string, or it's a very specific type. You can't put a number into a string, and you can't put a string into an array of any kind. You have to strictly tell it what you're gonna put in the array or what is gonna be in the variable. So a pro of Java is it's a very popular language still. It's just as popular as, say, Python or any other language. It has a lot of uses in the industry. It's very structured in the sense that a lot of big name companies use Java in their backend, and I think it's really important for you to just familiarize yourself with different types of languages that have strict typing. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of different pros with Java, but that's the one that I can think of right now. Now let's go to the quick cons list, which is just really one item. So I find Java a little bit difficult to just launch projects with, just because that you have to deal with dependency managers like Maven or Gradle, and then it also requires compiling on top of that. So it's a little difficult to get things going when you need it running right away. So say a hackathon or some kind of small project, you might not want to choose Java as your first option. Something like Python or even JavaScript is a great option, but Java is just a little more difficult. So going back to that first point I was talking about with the strict typing, some people do like that and some people don't. They find that having strict typing makes it really easy and organized to figure out what exactly is in the variable and if that variable is compatible with certain functions and not. For yourself, you can choose to decide whether or not you like that organization, or perhaps you think that something more a little looser like Python or JavaScript is better for you. In my opinion, I really like the strict typing with Java just because that whenever I see a variable, I can instantly know what's inside and what I can put into it. This makes it really easy to trace code for me and go through the debugger to figure out what could be wrong. All right, we got through the pros and cons of Java. I'm gonna go through now some basic beginner things that you might need to know if you're interested in doing Java development in the future, or perhaps you just want to know more about Java. So the first thing is choosing the right IDE. Now there's the IntelliJ IDE as well as the Eclipse IDE. Those are both very popular options, but I think that depending on what you want, IntelliJ is a paid option for some of the more pro features which you may or may not need, but Eclipse is completely free and open source. So depending on what your needs are, whether or not it's just very basic or you're gonna use it for the rest of your life maybe, you can choose one or the other. Now you might be thinking, there's so many good free options out there. Why would I ever pay for an IDE? And again, the pro options that you get from a paid IDE is kind of when you're more senior, maybe intermediate level, so you may not need to even go through those stages. Now, another really good option that people might look into is VS Code. I find it is possible to work with Java in VS Code. However, it's not as good in terms of debugging and just the small nitty-gritty features like tracing code with VS Code. It is possible. I do know some developers that do use VS Code for Java. However, I personally don't recommend it just because I think that IntelliJ or Eclipse offers a wider range of uses and features just specifically made for Java. The next thing you should try to familiarize yourself with and learn more about is the primitives in Java. There's some weird things with Java, such as thinking of a Python dictionary is now a hash map in Java, as well as being able to use wrapper classes in your primitives like an int and an integer. So they're just two different types of integers, but one is a wrapper class versus the other is a primitive. And you might want to just familiarize yourself with those different concepts and figure out what the differences between those are and how you should use them. There's some really good resources online, some by JavaPoint, W3 School, as well as this thing I don't even know how to pronounce. But they have really good stuff there, and I think if you guys are interested in learning more about those, you should definitely check out those websites for more. Alternatively, you can also look at Udemy for some nice courses. I've looked at Udemy for some JavaScript courses personally, and I think it's really helpful if you want to learn more Java to perhaps go on Udemy and take a beginner Java course. Okay, so some more intermediate things you might need to learn about if you're working with Java in the industry is working with Spring and how it really works. There's a bunch of words like bean and dependency injection and annotations that you might need to learn about and figure out what they mean. YouTube was my go-to resource, as well as using some online sources to learn more about Spring. I think the concepts they provide and the way they explain it is way better than what I could ever do. So I just point you in those directions, and I'll leave some in the description to figure out and give you guys some good resources to go to. So on the topic of Spring, most of the time they are bundled with others, such as Hibernate as well as Jackson. So the Hibernate library is kind of what they call ORM, which is Object Relational Mapping. Basically what it does is it's mapping Java objects from your code into database objects. So storing, say, a person class in your code now becomes a person in your database, and it's a one-to-one relationship, and you can use it to talk to each other. This is used a lot in the industry just to know what kind of resources are being used by the code, and it can pull data in and out really quickly without having a developer know SQL or any kind of query language specifically. Of course, you should still know SQL or maybe no SQL, but it's not really required if you're using an ORM like Hibernate. So earlier I mentioned Jackson, which is a library used to convert JSON or perhaps XML to Java objects. Now this is really handy in the industry because a lot of the web development side of Java uses APIs, endpoints, and converts JSON into the Java objects. Hibernate and Jackson are used in tandem most of the time because we want the JSON response to be converted to a Java object, and then the Java object to then be stored in the database, which is what Hibernate does. So the last thing you might want to learn and kind of keep doing on a regular basis is to keep up with the different Java versions and what's released in each version. So for example, Java 8 released Lambda functions, and that was something I didn't know about and I had to learn for my job. And so you want to just go through each version and find out the biggest changes, what's new and why is it new, and then figure out what's depreciated. Now this may change based on what version of Java you're coding in. If you're using Java 8 for your daily work, then there is no real reason perhaps, unless you're doing side projects with the newer versions just to play around with. That's totally cool. But for the most part, you do want to keep up with the different versions of Java and kind of learn what the differences are, because you may need to know something for a future upgrade when your company changes to, say, Java 8, Java 9, Java 15, whatever version it is in the future, you still need to know it. Okay guys, so that's a short video today of what you should learn if you're interested in Java. Maybe you're just curious about what it's like to work in the industry with Java. And yeah, I hope this helps you guys clear your minds. Perhaps now you're even more interested, or maybe you're deciding, maybe I don't want to do Java. And in that case, you can always try Python or JavaScript. Anyways, thanks you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one.